Cool. So sometimes our family changes, and two big things that happen in families are when we get married and get divorced. And we usually use get about this. Get means that it's changing. So first, if you are not married, and then this changes, we say to get married, to become married, right? If you are married and then this changes, then it's get divorced. But first, before we get divorced and before we get married, this is just a change, right? So first we have some situation where we use the verb to be. So we can say to be married, right? I said, if you are married. So this is just one state, one status, one condition. To be married and to not be married, right? To be unmarried. Married, unmarried. And then if we change, this is to get married, right? It's the process of changing from be unmarried to be married. When we change, this is get. So we could say, for example, my brother is getting married next week. This tells me that right now he is not married. Next week, he will change this. He will become married. So we should remember get. We use get a lot when we talk about divorced and married. My parents are divorced. They got divorced in the past. They changed. They got divorced when I was about 23. And now I have a similar situation to Robert. My father got married. He got remarried. He got remarried to a Russian woman, and they have 2 children. So now, just like Robert, I have 2 step siblings, right? This was our big word for today, siblings. Siblings means brothers or sisters, brothers and sisters. It's one word for boys and girls together, brothers and sisters. So I have 3 younger brothers, I do, and I have 2 step siblings, a step brother and a step sister. So in total, I have 5 siblings. It's crazy, I think. It's very big. Yeah.
How to write the word step siblings? With hyphen or?
Yeah, with a hyphen.
Thank you.
Although probably people write it differently because not many people use hyphens. So sometimes people will just make it one word because they're not sure, or because some dictionaries might say that it's supposed to be one way or another way. Like right now, I'm just checking my answer by going to Google and looking for, I just type in step siblings without hyphen and step siblings with hyphen in Google, and it shows me different articles that have people answering this question, you know, Aida. So on Wikipedia, it says step sibling without a hyphen, for example. But I think that it should be step dash sibling. So you can find different websites using different ones. Right now, to me, it looks like on the internet, most websites use it without a hyphen. English is strange now because it's a global language. So the way that people use it the most is more correct, right?
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so we were talking about great-grandparents before, and some people even have great-great-grandparents. So when we talk about this situation of the next generation, right? We have many generations. A generation is people who were born in the same period of time. So, for example, in Aida's house, there are 3 generations of women living in the same house. Aida, her mother, her grandmother. 3 people who were born at different time periods, right? Just think of it like to generate something is like to create. So generation is like the creation of new people from one other person. Your grandmother created your mother created you. These are different generations. And sometimes generations are very interesting to look at because they change over time. Right now, we can see that families are changing a lot because about 30 or 40 years ago, families usually looked about the same. You had city families and you had country families, or you had urban. Urban means city, right? So you had urban families, and urban families in 30, 40 years ago maybe had 2 or 3 children. This was a typical family, and they typically had 3 generations of people in their family. And so you could say that a typical family was very wide, that each generation had lots of people. And this is about urban families. Agricultural families agriculture, it's about farming, right? It's about people who live in the country, not in the city. So usually we can compare urban and agricultural. And agricultural families are usually bigger, right? Because you need more people to do all of the work on the farm, to do all of the different things. And so usually you have these really big families. But today things have really changed. Things have changed because families they look different. They are long and thin. So in the past, you had only a few generations because people don't live as long, right? In the past, they had a shorter life. And so there were only 2 or 3 generations, but each generation had more children. But today, we see that agricultural families are smaller and urban families are much smaller. Families usually have 1 or 2 children, and people live longer, so you might have 4 generations of people in one family. So you have child, parent, grandparent, and great-grandparent. And maybe this will change how the family works.